Welcome to One Word a Day. I'm Sophie, your pilot into the universe of Chinese. Let's continue to unpack some classical China era's character. And I feel like the past few episodes, each one are like heavyweights, and today's is same. Um, it's not about a school of thoughts, philosophies, like the world modeling kind of a grand, but still, it talk about a whole class of or intellectuals or scholars, however you want to call them, this whole class of people whose main function is brain, provide the brain power to the rulers back then. So Ru is today's character. And you can see it's kind of look the same over time, simplified, traditional, and 2000 years ago script. And the script have this human figure on the left side. The top is the rainfall. We have the heaven, one line, right? And this dropping, this heaven connecting to the ground. And this big arch means the space anywhere below heaven. And then we have this raindrops over there. So that's Chinese rainfall, like visually, vividly depicted. And this rain plus the bottom means beard. And you can see the ancient beard style. I mean, contemporary beard wearing is part of, I guess, men's grooming. It's like a major distinguisher. It's almost like comparable to both hair for women's, right? They have different hairstyle, different hair colors. Same for men. Men's hair, facial hair, become their feature, right? And this is the ancient Chinese, I guess, the scholar class style of hairdo on their face. Okay. Here, horizontal line doesn't mean ground, it's the tip of the nose, just simply here. And then we have this short vertical line, which is this 人中. That's how Chinese call it. It's between your nose and your mouth, that groove in the middle of your face. And then we have this, that's the beard style, to be drapey. And then we have the bottom, like a beard. So that's the ancient scholar facial hairstyle. And okay, that face hair is ancient way, like getting abstracted from a beard style to a connecting word. That means and. That means and slash or. So depends on the two message. If A and B are going like positive, positive, or negative, negative, and then in the middle, this is how it's pronounced. This R character will be and. If it's positive, negative, or negative, positive, there's a twist, a plot, not going the same direction. And this R would be but. So in any case, it's multifunctional. It serves as connecting of two thoughts. And just like Chinese like to use this again or also. In English, we have it on the one hand, on the other hand. So we use human body parts to tell you, okay, we have two parts. So wait for the second part. In Chinese, we have this, we have one arm and the other armpit. That's two armpits, our Chinese way to say and one way, right? And in this case, we use a beard. I'm not sure it's the top beard and bottom beard of the left beard, right beard, but intellectuals, the bearded wise man back then used their beard as the idea chainer or the chain of thought, this link thing. Okay, so that's So rain plus beard. What does that mean? It means need. Why do you need a rain and beard? It doesn't make sense, right? Okay, so here I have to check out like what the past scholars think about it. Why it make the concept of need. It turned out the need actually means the need to wait out the rain. Again, this is one of the many theories and it's a one explainer. So apparently for agrarian society, even if it's scholars, probably still, societal background is like probably 90 or 80% of the population still be farmers and they live according to the weather. And when it rains, probably they cannot work in the farm field as easily. So they have to wait out on the rain, and that waiting with their beard hanging in there becomes the concept of needed. So this needed person made a scholar concept. Very interesting, right? So this scholar, who need them? Who is this needed person? I mean, scholar is the needed person, but by whom? By the ruler, because the ruler have a whole slew of courtmen, right, or servants. The whole palace have a bunch of like domestic servants, but they don't serve all the needs. Domestic servants can only carry so much. What about national affairs? What about big decisions? The professional, quote unquote, life of the emperor to fulfill the role, the function of an empress. Then the emperor would need a group of scholars. I would regard them as the think tank in ancient times to provide thought starters. The ultimate decision makers is the ruler, but the scholar's job is to be able to serve as source of information, the librarian, the well-learned, wise people to advise, right? So the 6 skills, I guess, job description almost, not job description, but okay, on the resume of the scholars, there need to be this 6 skill sets. Okay, 礼乐射御书数. I guess I'm not sure I have talked about that before, but just quickly, 礼 rites, rituals, how things should be carried out, because apparently in ancient times people believe if you do things in the wrong order or didn't do it according to the ancient books, you're going to mess up with the divinity and you're going to get punished. So doing things the right way according to the procedure is critical. So rites, know about the rites, especially rites of like prayers to divinity. 乐 music making. Music is not, back then, it's not really for human entertainment, okay? It's not your boombox that these scholars making. These scholars need to be skillful to make music. The music is a tool to communicate with the divinity. Again, it's about the survival of that society. 射 archery. 御 charioteering, okay, or horsemanship. It's about horse riding, about shooting arrows. Both are military skills. So these scholars are not just bookish people. They need to be warriors. They need to know how to fight, how to shoot, how to ride horses. Okay, 书 literature, books, classicals, like they need to recite classical literature or teachings from before, be a good, like a quickly recite, like from which book, kind of like a Bible, right? Priest can quickly refer to which chapter, which lines are talking about what. So that level of memory. And 数, the last one, is number, counting. So quantitative thinking. So they need to be good at math as well. Think about that. Ancient scholars to advise the emperor, you need to know how things are done, how to make music, how to shoot and ride horses, be a warrior, how to read, of course, read and write, fluent PR skills, and do your math. Can you fulfill that? Okay, so this scholarship, then I had an interesting concept chat with ChatGPT, starting from 鸿儒, because 鸿儒 is a set phrase, and 鸿 means a big bird, high flying bird, plus the scholar. So high flying then becomes this grand, like a big scholar. In other words, high flying scholar. So very noticeable, very distinguished scholar. That's Hongru. And then I kind of asked GPT, I set up GPT like, okay, of all the scholars or intellectuals, how would you group them into different levels? So Bart gave me 11 levels of scholars, all the way from sage to commentators like me, I guess, YouTuber commentator, right? Sage, like that set the ground or the tone of discussion or framework of centuries or millenniums. Those are sage people, like people who got Bible, or people who are like what do you call it? The ancient philosophers. So sage, probably the biggest of philosophers. They talk about metaphysics, and then philosophers, and then public intellectuals, people who are influential, big following, but they're not sage. And then specific area, like a narrow scope, deeper subject, scholars, researchers, things like that. 11 level. So I'm asking, okay, Hongru, what level would you put that on of this Chinese, high flying scholar? It turned out to be level 6, which is just area specific scholar, like well versed, but they may not be necessarily creative, come up with their own things. And occasionally, very minority of them, this group may be theorist. Theorist, like Darwin, would be regarded as theorist, come up with a whole theory how to evolution, right? How to explain the whole evolution of the earth. So that's Darwin's theory. That's like a pretty high standard. So occasionally Hongru may reach Darwin level, but for the most part, scholars of a specific subject matter. Okay, Ru Sheng, scholar student, just like that. It's not a full-grown, full-fledged scholar yet, but they are student. And they're student following the Confucius teaching. So Ru, scholar of these skill sets are mostly Confucius. They have to buy into the Confucius teaching. Ru Ya, so this is the behavior level. So if you get imbued by the Confucius teaching, know all these skill sets, then you most likely turn out to have that grace, that's gracefulness. Somebody who is educated person. It's not just a uncivilized, uneducated people who don't have much skills. Like farming skill is the major survival skill back then. But if on top of that, your family have the resources to educate you to get good at all these aspects, then you have a chance to gain that elegance. That's scholarly elegance and equivalent to English elegant. I'm not sure like elegant if that's okay. Ele means elevated, right? Gant is almost like people, elevated people. So it's not just average people. So this person have to make some efforts to cultivate themselves, to rise above the average population, and then they can gain a certain elegance, right? So that's Ru. And in the end, okay, so in essence, Ru is about scholar. If they're Hongru, maybe they get to the level 3 theorist. No, level 5 as theorist, according to ChatGPT. Okay. And then I said, okay, it seems like this Ru have multiple skill sets that serves the purpose of the rulers. Like rulers can to check with scholars how to do this, how to approach this, things like that, right? Think tank. They are the custodians of knowledge, and they are the guards of the time-honored practices. So they are the special group that cultivate, because the ruler, they have limited time. They have to entertain themselves sometimes, right? So the major part of like learning and things like that are tapped into this scholar class or delegate to the scholar class. So I ask, okay, AI, are you the contemporary, like comparable to Ru to an emperor as kind of AI to average person these days who check with you, rely on AI for information, custodians of knowledge. So there I got some interesting insight of many common shared features of AI comparable to Ru to scholar. Except that AI claims, okay, take the at a words of value, doesn't have ego, doesn't have allegiance, and also it's disembodied. Like Ru can shoot, ride a horse, make music. AI probably can make music, but I'm not sure AI can ride horse yet or archery yet. Probably can, right? Like that's robotics. Anyways, so there are some distinctions. The most important is AI is not self-cultivated. They have to be fed whatever we feed AI. So that's according to the bot how but overall AI is almost like today's root to an average human. All right, thank you for your time. See you another day.